guys, sorry we're a little bit late. Welcome to Access. If you're new to this show, what up? I'm doing my Monday shimmy. It's slow because it's Monday. So guys, we have an awesome Access show for you. If you're new, it's Daily Blast Live. Anything goes here. It's a conversation because you, the viewer, actually have a voice in our show. So make sure you comment on all of these very interesting topics we're talking about. I just recorded like a 1-minute off-the-cuff feeling of the Tony Robbins situation, and I would love to get your take on this. And if you haven't written in before, let us know, of course, where you're writing us from. If you guys don't know what happened, Tony Robbins was filmed at one of his stadiums giving his power speech in San Jose. And he was explaining why the Me Too movement, a lot of people are just using it just to feel significant in their life, which was somewhat of a generalization. And a woman spoke up and said, I feel like you're doing a disservice to the Me Too movement. Turns out that woman is a sexual assault survivor, and she was just sort of politely saying, I think you're misunderstanding. And Tony went over to her and pushed her as she walked back and this exchange went on for about 11 minutes of him literally saying, why are you pushing back? Why are you pushing back? Well, you're 6'5", and she's this little woman. I would be pushing back too. And he was saying something about how the Me Too movement can be disused because he told a story about he has male clients who can't hire beautiful women anymore because they're too worried about what will happen. It made no sense. It didn't look good. And she literally spoke up in front of thousands of people and said, you're an influential man and you're doing a disservice. And then she goes, it's not about what girls or women believe, it's what people believe. And she got claps. So Tony is not used to not having a roaring applause of people for him. He's really stepped in it. He did apologize. Here's why I'm not really believing the apology, and you can call me sensitive or PC. The apology was like so blah, blah, blah. Like the empathy and the truth and the Me Too movement and the nurturing. I mean, it was all puff piece words. And what he should have done, and what would have helped me and, the panel will discuss it, how they feel, is to address the woman he physically touched and said, hey, Miss McCool, she has a name. What I did was wrong. I was mansplaining. It was rude. And I want to address you specifically and learn as a personal matter, because then I would have believed his apology. Right now, I'm not believing it. And guess what, Tony Robbins? You need women. You need the women because you are an influential, spiritual person to a lot of people. And you don't want to misuse the Me Too movement because you have a very big platform. So what does Spider-Man say? With great power comes? Thank you. Guac is extra. That's right. Good job, guys. No, great power comes great responsibility. And I feel like, Tony, Robbins, like I'm talking to him, like I know him. You have a responsibility here to take seriously people who have been victims, because otherwise they're going to tune you off. So I'd love to get your take on this. It went viral, and that's when he apologized, which is also kind of a bad move because he only apologized once it went viral. So am I being too PC, too snowflake here? I just think if you go to the video, it's him pushing her, being like, why are you going backwards? Why are you going backwards? And it literally gives you a visual representation of the Me Too movement in one shot. It's a huge guy mansplaining to a young woman who's trying to stand up for herself. A smaller woman, and he's pushing her back and pushing her back. If you want a shot to represent what the Me Too movement is, that was that. So Sharon, get in here.
Fix your IFB while you're doing this. Just keep
talking. I thought you were going to say something like, Tori, you're doing such a good job. She's Tori, like, let me fix your IFB.
Tori, you're talking well. Just let me.
That's right. So, a lot of people called me snowflake, and that's okay. I think a lot of people are. I don't think this one is. I don't think I'm being triggered too sensitively here. I don't, because the Me Too movement started in 2006 from Tarana Burke, and she meant it as an inspiring movement, an empowering movement. And when you have some of the most powerful, inspirational males saying, I don't really agree with it, yes, I can hear you, it discredits the entire movement. So I think he should apologize to her. And, for instance, Sam Shocker, she was very interested, and other people, about going to one of his speaking engagements. Well, not anymore right now. That she doesn't really love the attitude. And it was just bad optically. It just looked bad all around. So let me know what you guys think. A lot of people writing in good things. Some people saying he always seems like a bully. I would love to know your thoughts because he's such an influential man. And I do think a couple of years ago he did. Thanks, my love. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. He did a fire walk. Do you guys remember this? And that's when you walk on fire. And yeah. And what happened was at the end of it, there wasn't enough water. And people's feet got very badly burned, and the ambulance came, and it was sort of a bad look. So that was something, and then this happened, and you just, if you're going to be an influential spiritual person, you got to be careful. And I don't think he was careful, and I think he dug himself in a hole in this one. And I think a lot of people are offended. I know that never have I seen Tony Robbins be told that he is being disrespectful and get an applause at a Tony Robbins speaking event. So he definitely touched a few people. Cheryl Hannah's writing me in, guys. His sorry was a little too late, Cheryl. He should have apologized right then and there. And didn't you see in his eyes, I'm digging a hole. He knew it too. Tori, can't wait to get this shirt. Yeah, signed it for me, Annie Bloom. She's our trivia winner. And he was caught in his own web, you know what? So guys, follow us. Let us know where you're watching us from. We'll see you soon. Today on Daily Blast Live, Jimmy Kimmel says sorry to Sean Hannity, but will this TV feud actually end? Plus, life coach Tony Robbins takes back what he said about the Me Too movement.
You can use the Me Too movement to be such a beautiful thing. I'm not knocking the Me Too movement.
We'll show you his apology. Chaos outside the courtroom in the Bill Cosby retrial. Why a protester was all fired up. Daily Blast Live starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Jeff still has another evening off. He will be back tomorrow, whether you like it or not. We miss you, Jeff. All right, let's get right into it. Chaos outside the courthouse on the first day of Bill Cosby's retrial. It happened when Cosby arrived, and this topless protester, there she is right there, jumped a barricade. It shows the woman charging in front of Cosby as he was arriving. Her body was covered in paint with the words, "Women's Lives Matter," as well as the names of Cosby's accusers. The woman, who has been identified as Nicole Rochelle, was charged with disorderly conduct. And it turns out she's an actress who appeared in 4 episodes of The Cosby Show as a kid. And new details were revealed today inside the courtroom. In a surprise move, the district attorney said that Cosby paid his accuser nearly $3.4 million in their civil case in 2006. And Tori, you're our legal eagle. When somebody pays someone, especially that amount of money, is that them just trying to Does that make them look even more guilty?
Straight up, yes. It makes them look guilty to public opinion. It makes it look guilty to the jury. You don't give out $1 million, let alone 3.4, unless something specifically went down and you're trying to cover something
What
up.
if he was afraid, and believe me, even though this is all alleged, I believe that Cosby is guilty, but what if he was afraid that even by, this in the Me Too movement, even by just saying that he allegedly assaulted somebody, that could tarnish someone's image?
Well, we talked about this earlier, and, there were still, there are people who believe that he is innocent, but when someone says that they've paid someone off $3.4 million, I think that pretty much sums up things for me, in my opinion. It would be hard for me, even having been a juror before, to be unbiased.
Right. And you shouldn't be. That should be part of the trial.
So is he going to get a fair trial?
I don't know if he can. He just paid $3.5 million of hush money.
That's right.
Who does that except somebody that's allegedly? Yes, allegedly.
Well, we can say that we believe he's guilty.
Yes.
I believe he's guilty. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's 50 plus
And it
women.
wasn't like $100,000. It was 3.4. That was a negotiation. That's a specific number. They fought back and forth on that. So
right. And this story is just very strange to me. I found out in between the shows that I actually went to college with that girl.
Really?
Yeah, she went by a different name. When we first did the story and I recognized her face, I was like, maybe she's a pop singer and I just or an actress. Maybe I just know her face. And then my friend just texted me.
Wow.
Did you know her?
Yes.
What was she like?
She was just a normal college student. We were all just having, this is when I was at Brown.
Had she ever mentioned Cosby? Given
Never.
the fact that she did a 4-episode arc on the show?
Never.
Okay.
No.
Because she looked like, and you mentioned this also earlier too, this looks like somebody that was harboring anger, that wanted to get in front of him, look him in the eye, and say, hey, women's lives matter.
It looked personal to me. Someone doesn't go that exposed if it's not personal. Allegedly, this is what my speculation is.
All right, and DBL Nation, please chime in. We want to hear what you have to say. Moving on to Jimmy Kimmel. Will the feud between Jimmy Kimmel and Sean Hannity end tonight? Hannity says he will have a comprehensive response on his show in just hours. This after Kimmel took the high road, or some would say he didn't, apologizing to the conservative Fox News anchor on Twitter. Kimmel said, in part, I realize that the level of vitriol from all sides, mine and me included, does nothing good for anyone and, in fact, is harmful to our country. Meantime, a petition calling for a boycott of the Jimmy Kimmel Show has more than tripled its goal of 50,000 signatures. The feud started when Kimmel joked about First Lady Melania Trump. If you haven't seen this yet, take a look.
Just like a cat, ask lots of questions about this and that.
About this and that. Guillermo, you realize what this means? You could be First Lady of the United States.
Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel never apologized for the original thing that offended Hannity, which was making fun of Melania Trump's accent. This offended, it made me cringe. So am I being too sensitive? Is Hannity being too sensitive? You're a comic, Al.
Not in this case. He was trying to be funny and he missed. And myself, full disclosure, I'm always going to take the side of the comic. I believe that we have to be able to miss sometimes with jokes. In order to have a great joke, you need to probably have 3 that bomb. He missed. He definitely, I think, embarrassed himself and just showed that was just kind of a weak joke.
Yeah, it's lazy. I just told Al and I were talking about it earlier. It's lazy joke writing. If that person were Asian or deaf or anything, making fun of that is not going to be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed because of her accent now. But meanwhile, I think what Jimmy Kimmel did is he didn't apologize to Hannity. He apologized to his own fan base. So the optics look best for Jimmy.
Well, do you think this will hurt his fan base? Do you think his fan base looks
I think that both Kimmel and Hannity seem incredibly out of touch. I don't think that either one of their bases are very corralled or riled by what happened. I think that it's much to do about nothing. And the fact of the matter is, I understand that, and I said even last week, if it were a person of Asian descent and they did that, people would be all over him. So why is it any different? But at the end of the day, it's just a footnote, and it's not something that warrants petitions and people tuning in to see what they're...
I wonder if Hannity was set up to start something, because now we're not talking about Laura Ingraham. That's a real supposition that Fox wanted to change the news cycle, say, Hannity, get in the middle of this. And now we're talking about Hannity. No one's talking about Laura Ingraham, who's suddenly coming back.
That's some crazy House of Cards.
But that would make more sense to me than having this conversation. I mean, this isn't something, the reason why when you compare it to even a Michelle Obama, that's because it's so ingrained in the culture culture of this country. Black people being made fun of in certain respects. And no one jumped up and down when this was happening to Michelle Obama. So I'm not really feeling like I want to jump to Melania's defense as if she can't defend herself, because as we know, she can very well defend herself.
All right. Oof. DBL Nation, chime in. All right. Motivational speaker Tony Robbins is apologizing now after video from last month surfaced showing his take on the Me Too movement. Now, watch what happened when a woman asked about Me Too during a San Jose event. You'll even see him, Tony, pushing her to demonstrate his point. Check it out.
If you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, you haven't grown an ounce. All you've done is basically use a drug called significance to make yourself feel good. Why are you pushing so hard? So you're telling me that the harder I push, the more you're going to comply and I'm going to be safe.
You are a leader and an influential man.
Yes.
And you are doing a disservice, in my opinion, to the Me Too movement.
I can't do a service because everyone in this room that believes whatever she believes will continue to do it.
It's not just about what women believe, it's about what people believe.
Amen. And on Sunday, he did tweet out a statement writing, quote, "I apologize for suggesting anything other than profound admiration for the Me Too movement. I agree with its founding message of empowerment through empathy, which makes it a beautiful force for good."
Blah, 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 blah,
Good
blah.
flip-flop.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he really did, and you notice he used the pronoun she. You know, it's like, oh, well, clearly all women think that the Me Too movement is a real thing. And then we see the quick flip-flop when that woman kind of served him up there.
Yeah, that was
You never know who's in the audience.
That's right. That was an empty apology. Her name is Nanine McCool. She's a sexual assault survivor, and brave. That woman was brave. That's thousands of people that really rally for Tony Robbins, and she spoke up, and that is a visual representation of what the Me Too movement is.
And Erica, you listen to Tony Robbins every
all the time. Yeah.
Change.
I'm very disappointed by this. Especially, I'm more disappointed by the apology than anything else, because anyone who listens to Tony Robbins knows that he's a very intentional speaker. He doesn't say things that are just to be said.
It looked like a puff piece, right?
He had time to formulate this response, and he used the word empathy. Like, you can't say that you're empathetic because clearly you don't understand the plight of someone who would have to say #MeToo. You can't put yourself in those shoes. And the fact that he would say something like that is very insulting. What he said was that you gained it through significance. Do you know how many victims of sexual assault pray every day to be insignificant? That is not a drug anybody wants to have. So he misstepped so greatly, and then he came back with that BS apology.
I agree.
I am thoroughly disappointed.
You can be disappointed, but I'm just asking, doesn't he have the right to have an opinion that you don't agree with?
He does have the right. I would counter that with the fact that he just didn't seem to listen when the woman spoke up.
He physically pushed her.
Right. And I would even say, you know, you as many people are a fan of you, Tony Robbins. We know that you're going to be here in Denver. We tape in Denver on May 10th. We would love for you to join our program. And as a motivational speaker, you can evolve. You know that more than anyone else. You can be self-aware and become a better person and learn from this. And we hope that you can come here.
That was the apology I wished for.
And address it. So please come here and address it. We are live. Digital producer Brett Forrest has news at the moment.
President Trump just responded to the FBI raid of his personal attorney, Michael Cohen's office. Listen to what he had to say.
Heard that they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys, and it's a disgrace. It's frankly a real disgrace. It's an attack on our country in a true sense. It's an attack on what we all stand for.
Familiar with the
The raid was based partly on a referral from special counsel Robert Mueller. The comments from President Trump are reigniting speculation that he may seek to fire the special counsel, a move both parties have condemned. Sorry, we had a little bit of some technical difficulties with Brett, so I just wanted to pick that up.
So, Tori, you are our D.C. insider. They would not have these warrants without evidence.
Ooh!
Right, yeah, you can't get a warrant from a judge.
Fourth Amendment, you need search and seizure. You better have some good evidence. You're going against the president's counsel. This is damn good evidence. And by raiding it, and a surprise, you also look very vulnerable as the president. But you didn't know it was coming.
I listened to his press conference, and he continues to say that he is innocent and this is a witch hunt, and many of his supporters believe him.
Yes.
All right, Star Wars fans. Woo woo! Do we got Star Wars fans?
Yeah, yes!
Well, we have good news. Ebony Steele has the details coming in hot.
Yes, coming in hot. The full trailer for Solo, A Star Wars Story, has landed. The star-studded cast includes Alden Ehrenreich, Donald Glover, and Woody Harrelson. Chewbacca is back, and Han Solo meets Lando for the first time. Let's take a look.
Heard about a job. Big shot gangster putting together crews.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
What do you think? Well, what do you know?
So glad we took this job!
Yeah, Solo, A Star Wars Story flies into theaters May 25th. I don't know why my arms are like this, but I feel empowered, and may the Force be with you.
How about find someone that looks like Harrison Ford? Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
a made-up story.
Yeah, well, find someone that looks like him. Everybody wants to see Harrison Ford.
And don't
He's
say thank
90.
You. You had one ooh.
I got two oohs.
Way in the back. Do you know how to ask for a raise? Well, we've got 3 tips that could get you that pay bump, that bump in pay, plus some pretty shady ladies in Atlanta. In case you missed it, the shadiest moments at the reunion and a pillow fight. To put any sleepover to shame, you know who's going to sound off about this? Al Jackson.
Yeah.
That's next.
It's time for Al Sounds Off, when Al Jackson goes off on the wire. It's time for Al Sounds Off, when Al Jackson goes off on the wildest stories he can find. I am playing Jeff, so I'll talk like Jeff. Here we go. On Saturday, thousands of naptime warriors charged the streets and let their down feathers fly as they celebrated International Pillow Fight Day. Check it out.
What? Oh, Tori, this is so strange. New Yorkers displaying pent-up aggression. You know, first of all, this isn't a real pillow fight. It doesn't count unless you've ganged up on your smallest sibling.
That's true. That's true.
A pillow fight starts when you hit the person that's not looking, and it ends when your brother falls off the bed and you yell, "Don't tell Dad."
Let's
go to the next one.
I'm trying to do it with you. All right, now we go to Dorking, England. I said that right, for the 11th annual Wife Carrying Championship, where competitors race for a spot in the World Championship taking place in Finland this summer. Enjoy.
Speaking of dorking, you know, when they got married and they said to have and to hold, they weren't talking about this. But this is really cool because this is the only time you can tell your wife to get off your back and not end up on the couch.
How did I know that was coming?
Yes.
And our final video comes from Madison, Wisconsin, where dozens of dudes and a couple ladies competed at Tecmo Madison, an event that puts your Tecmo Super Bowl skills to the test. Let's take a look.
Now, I love this. I don't know if you know this. Tecmo Bowl debuted in 1987, and it was really just a bunch of guys sitting around yelling at the screen, and look how far we've come. I really do like it. I just don't need to tell these guys video games is in shirts and skins. Okay, I think we got 5 chubby Putins there. But I want to give a shout out to Joey Gass. He's the first 3-time winner of the Tecmo Bowl Championship. Our cameraman Rob went, and I would make more fun of this, but I'm going next year. See you guys next year. Yes!
We are live. Ebony Steele has a new trending story coming in hot.
Yes, thank you, Tori. Tomorrow is Equal Pay Day, and Bustle.com has some useful information for anyone fighting for equal pay. And it's a lot of us women out there that's trying to do that. First, make sure you have regular check-ins with your boss. That's when you can discuss what you're working on and what successes you've already had. Now, when you're ready for a raise, ask during one of these regular meetings. Next, be confident about the amount you're asking for. You should have a precise amount in mind, but make sure it's realistic. Once you have an amount, practice your asking for a raise speech. Write it down and rehearse for your family, friends, or in the mirror. Lastly, be clear about your value to the company. This is your time to shine, so think about which accomplishments you want to highlight and how this can relate, and you can relate to the company's broader goals. Negotiating your salary is crucial to closing the gender wage gap. So be confident, ladies, get that raise you deserve, and whatever you do, don't give empty compliments. Bert, did I tell you I liked your sweat? You get a new haircut. Yeah, back to you guys. You did get a haircut, Bert.
Daily Plus Live is all about live news as it's happening. Fleetwood Mac axes one of its band members. We'll reveal who got the boot. And the shade is real. On the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion, Reality Roundup is next.
We're talking if Trump did fire Mueller, which, you know, I heard from folks in D.C. and Al, and you've read in the news and you've heard the rumbling that if he did fire this special counsel that's an independent investigator, it would just be a constitutional crisis. The GOP, the Republican Party, they all agreed they would step down and go against him, because you can't go against checks and balances like that. You can't fire someone that's an independent counsel looking at something you might have done. So he did say in the press conference, as Sam said, that that is something he's looking into, which is firing Mueller. I think that's an empty threat because it will end his presidency. As Jose Morales said, and if Trump fires his special prosecutor, then he can kiss his presidential administration goodbye. It means he's got something to hide. And as Erica was saying so brilliantly, would that really bother Trump? In fact, if he wants to get out of the presidency, this is a great way to sort of do it.
See, I think that we keep asking, like, why is this happening? Like, how is this possible? There's no one more surprised by Trump becoming president than
Donald Trump himself.
No, there's like a whole, there wasn't the process we used to see through like a vetting process of a president. Right. There isn't the, you know, the skeletons in the closet, figuring out how to do. We knew everything because he's lived publicly for so long.
We were okay with it.
That he's like, this is who I am, and people want that.
And you can say that he's dismantled the way that we're going to be picking presidents from now on, because any one of the scandals that he's dealt with, just
it would have ruined any other president.
I mean, anything.
Yeah, and Steve Schmidt, the political advisor, he's the one who didn't vet Sarah Palin.
Right.
And he's an anti-Trump, and what he said is, I started this, the lack of vetting on Sarah Palin has started this, and that's what caused Trump.
Right.
Because we don't have the proper vetting. You would never have had this 10 years ago.
His wife ugly. And like just
he said grab him by the blank, and women voted for him in droves.
So I mean, just what could possibly be the next president? I'm assuming we'll make it through this president. the next president, what could they possibly do?
I'll call you back on that.
That would be a scandal.
We're going to.
Yeah, how can you
what
compare?
Could you do?
How can you compare?
Tape, right, honey?
Just so you guys know, update on Sam. Well, we're going to give you an update on Baby, her dog.
Yes.
Welcome back to DBL. It's now time for Reality Roundup. We were a little late on that animation, but that's okay. This is when we break down the juiciest moments in reality TV. Up first, are we ready?
Yes.
The Real Housewives of Potomac. Karen's finances are the talk of the town after it is reported that her husband owes $5 million in back taxes. That's a lot. So Karen does what any normal person would do. She holds a press conference with her closest friends. She finds out the hard way that she ain't no Sean Spicer.
Are you being indicted at all?
Did Michael get indicted for his dingling swinging across Instagram? No.
Excuse me, was that in the Washington Post? No, it was not. Okay, so I'm asking you a simple question, and you can get your finger out of my face and answer the question.
I'm answering.
I'm asking you a question.
I kind of understand it though. It's like when I hate when somebody tells you what they're going through, right? And then another person tries to one up them. Well, it didn't happen when my husband's dingling. Yeah. I'm regurgitating what she just said.
Her husband.
Yeah, she was trying to shade her husband. Well, no, she was trying to shade her husband in order to cover the shade for her own husband.
No, the other girl was trying to one-up her. With her story being more outrageous. More outrageous.
Okay,
Yeah, I didn't understand either, but I like the use of dingling.
Yeah. Right. And they had she gave them 2 pencils too, like to take notes.
Yeah, that was SAT time.
Right. Like, oh, okay. Let me write down.
She was trying to get ahead of it, but it didn't work.
Would you ever hold a press conference?
No, God, no. Come on now.
My favorite was when she said, you have to make millions in order to owe millions. I was like, man, I wish I would have thought of that when I was going through my bankruptcy.
Well, he's worried about his back taxes. I'm worried about my front taxes.
It's now time for Miss Ebony Steele to deliver her shade of the day.
Girl, bye. All right, the shade of the day is from all of the ladies on the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. Check it.
You're so good at acting. You really should act.
No, I do act, boo-boo. Check my resume.
A C character.
Wearing wigs. Hers came from Party City.
My skin is perfect,
no,
baby.
it's awful. It's
you're
awful.
sitting up there looking like James Amos in the wigs. People are shady.
All right, y'all ready? Yeah. Want to hear it? Here it goes. Shade, shade, will it go away? Never on the Real Housewives of the A. Ladies lit each other up. So where do we begin? Some say it started with Portia's cape under her chin. Maybe them ragging on Sheree's prison bay, or saying Marlo looked like the daddy of JJ. Nene took the cake saying Kim's wig smelled of Party City. I'ma straighten out mine, but saying that Nene was pretty gritty.
Crazy. All that shade. I can barely keep up with that. Yes, girl. Woo! Digital producer Raquel Villanueva with news at the moment.
Fleetwood Mac just fired one of its longtime members. Lindsey Buckingham is out allegedly after a disagreement about the band's upcoming tour. Now, Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac in 1975, along with Stevie Nicks, who was his girlfriend at the time. Now, he wrote and sang some of the band's biggest hits, like Tusk and Go Your Own Way, and now that he's doing just that, his replacement is Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Neil Flynn of Crowded House.
Whoa.
That's big time.
Talk about Crowded House. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, we got some good comments that was related to what I just said, so that's good. Annie Bloom, I agree with Tori. It's not the same without Harrison, speaking about the Han Solo.
You had to pick the comment that
no, I got that first. Number 2, may the force be with the DBL Nation, Stacey Lynn Sorber. And finally, Veronica says, I miss Jeff. He brings the party every day.
Is that from Jeff's account?
That's from Jeffrey Schroeder. Weird.
Good one, Jeff. Good one.
And I update on Baby.
Oh, Baby's going. Everybody who prayed for Baby, thank you. Baby is coming home today. She's been at the vet for 2 days. And Baby's my dog, not my dog.
Why is your daughter at the vet?
A lot of viewers are like, why is your kid at the vet?
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Just so you know, Baby is not her baby, it's her dog.
My dog's
14 years
name is
old.
Baby.
How's
She's
Sophie?
14 years
I don't
old.
know.
She was my
Baby's fine.
first baby.
Who?
Been
Sophie?
through everything with me. And she's been at the vet for 2 days, had a slew of different issues. But the good news is she will be coming home. We'll continue treatment at home, and your prayers work. So for all of you who have checked in and prayed for her, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Sam,
you.
tell us how you found.
Hold on one second.
Yes.
35 seconds.
Okay.
No funny moments. So we'll just say goodbye.
Chit chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam, do we have time to change baby's name?
You know why I named her baby?
Why?
So I found
tell us
her.
how you found her.
I found her. I was working with a rescue called Diamonds in the Rough, and we found the entire litter and the mama underneath a truck bed in Compton. And I can't tell you the details because they were pretty gnarly. Anyways, everyone got adopted but baby. So finally, I took baby home. They were teeny tiny, and baby kept suckling on the corner of the pillow like a teat, like a baby. That's why I named her baby. And she was like suckling like a baby.
So creative. No, that's adorable. That's
She's been my ride or die. I've had her since I was, 22 years old.
And she lives with 4 cats and a newborn, and she's the chillest dog I've ever met.
She's the sweetest little thing ever, and thank God everything's okay. It's been a hell of a few days, because everything actually started on Wednesday.
There was an injury to the leg.
There was an injury to the leg, and then they put her on pain meds, and what we think happened is she had a severe, life-threatening reaction to the pain meds.
It was the pain meds.
It's called, but they thought before the ultrasound that it could be cancer.
Oh.
So thank God.
Great change.
Yep.
Great change.
Welcome back to DBL. Tori, right during the break, she said, I have a funny comment.
Funny comment. Jason Anderson, who is hilarious on the DBL Nation, wrote, "This is your dog, Baby. Is at the vet. He's coming home. She's coming home. Nobody puts Baby in the corner / vet.
Yeah.
There you go, Jason Anderson.
Amen. Baby's coming home. Yes. No longer in that vet corner. Stories never stop. We don't either. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Happy Monday evening. Yay. We miss you, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Come back.
Bring the party.
He may never come back.
No, he's not coming back.